Welcome to Jobbed Out, the wrestling editorial that reminds you that in showbiz, you never work with animals or children. The WWE Network was both a blessing and a curse for the WWE, as fans watching on Monday or Friday were starving for more content, okay, I guess in Monday's just better content, and desperately wanting your $9.99 meant the WWE had this obligation to throw anything and everything at the wall to see what sticks. We got documentaries, we got reality shows, skit comedies, even cartoons to try to convince people to always be watching the network. But I want to talk about one of the shows that didn't make it. It's hard to believe NXT's gone through so many transitions over the last 10 years. Originally a pretty bad game show on the Sci-Fi Network, and eventually a pretty damn good show on the USA, the WWE Network days were always regarded as the best in terms of writing, match quality, and the fact that it's a lot easier to watch a 1-hour show than a 3-hour show and still want more. So in an attempt to expand the NXT universe, a tester was filmed in January 2015 for a new NXT product to be aimed at younger audiences. It was a bit of a stretch since NXT itself was more for older fans who just wanted to see wrestling minus the 20-minute promo from the Authority. And while this tester has, at least at the time of this recording, never come to light, it did spur enough interest for a casting call and a proper pilot to be filmed, which takes us to today in wrestling history! April 23rd, 2015. WWE filmed its first and only episode of NXT Kids. Yeah, you heard that right. NXT Kids was to be a Saturday morning type show that would feature a couple of matches as usual, but also a twist of having Corey Graves babysit a couple kids on commentary. On top of that, they'd have a pint-sized backstage interviewer, some trivia, and some goofy stuff in order to appeal to that young, hip target demographic. Now, why do I know about this? Well, sheer incompetence, my friend. See, when I worked in a video production company, we would share our videos back and forth using Google Drive. But someone who I'd now guess is previously employed by the WWE thought it would be better to share the content via Vimeo, where they forgot to password protect it, leaving it ripe to be plucked by the internet's finest. Thanks to that little blunder, we have the best, worst half hour in NXT history. So let's dive in. I'm just kidding. The greatest intro bumper theme in the history of TV pro wrestling was replaced by something more child-friendly, complete with kids giving the rundown for the show we're about to watch as we cut to Full Sail University. Now, the fans actually thought this was just part of the normal tapings for the May 13th episode, and you wouldn't know the difference if not for the graphics package added in post. That and the commentary, but first, holy crap, it's the WWE debut of Billie Kay, or as commentary chooses to call her,
oh my god, it's the kangaroo lady!
I'm gonna give you the heads up now that there are exactly 2 reasons why NXT Kids is regarded a miserable failure. Those 2 reasons are Tucker and Drew. Now, it's hard to be rough on them because they're kids, but that doesn't mean we gotta pretend they were any good.
Maybe she's a mother of 3 kangaroos.
She's a mother of kangaroos?
Yeah.
Seems a bit unlikely to me.
Even though it's always nice to have new voices offering a different opinion on these shows, these 2 make a great case for why Vince McMahon is always yelling in people's ears. Anyway, the future Billie Kay's first opponent in NXT would be the actual NXT Women's Champion at the time this episode leaked. That's right, it's Bayley.
I love when those noodle people come out, they're like, yeah!
Hey now, they're called wacky waving inflatable arm flailing Bayley buddies and you better get it right. The match itself was your standard enhancement talent squash, but whereas we are used to commentary talking about those other more important stories during the bout, this Talk It Up team split their energy between writing a backstory for Billie Kay and trying to make Corey Graves' corpse.
I feel so old.
You are old.
Send for the man. So Bayley wins with a Bayley to belly as the more profound of the 2 preteens ponders if the match would have gone differently if Billie Kay had just hugged Bayley at the start. Now, since this is a kid's show, we've got Corey Graves narrating a math equation before cutting to the only kid on this whole program who actually deserves a shot at a job when he's older. Backstage interviewer PJ Whitaker. PJ is tasked with interviewing Long Island Ice Z Zack Ryder. Since at this point WWE fans were well accustomed to Please welcome my guest at this time. PJ actually opts to ask questions like the origins of Zack Ryder's catchphrase before throwing some shade at him.
Where did the woo 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 come from?
Well, the woo 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 was something I used to say to girls to get their attention.
How many times did that work?
0.
Got him!
After that, we have our interactive feature, because kids love being able to interact. Fan video of the week. And since this show isn't a thing yet, or ever, the fan video comes from an employee's toddler identifying theme songs.
How much is a WWE Network?
99.
We then find out that it would take 43.5 Colin Cassidy's equals to 1 Statue of Liberty. Okay, well, it is a math question and not an English one. Too bad their math is wrong too, but hey, let's pretend they just rounded down a bit. Bada boom, here's a graphic of Lady Liberty stomping the WWE Divas to death before cutting to commercial break. We then get a hype package for Kalisto before our big lucha thing, our main event.
Guys, what do you think about Ty Dillinger?
He's a jerk.
You think he's a jerk?
I hate the haircut.
Rude? These kids are relentless, man.
That hair is like a nightmare to me.
Maybe it's because they can't count to 10? I mean, the match itself is fine, and credit where credit is due. We very nearly had a dangerous botch that not only gets saved, but is referenced rather than swept under the rug.
Oh, he lost his footing.
That's alright, he was still able to pull it off. Lost his footing a little bit on the top rope, was still effective.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how good Kalisto is.
As the kids join in on the lucha chants, we cut to a promo for NXT Kids Episode 2, which I actually would have really liked to see. Shame it never got made, and the NXT Kids show fades to black. Just as quickly as it appeared, it was gone. And you know what? I liked it. NXT Kids was different. It was short. 21 minutes, including commercials and promos. This would have been a perfect way to get kids into WWE programming again if they had a syndicated deal to air it on. I mean, I'd rather watch this over, like, main event. Regardless, a big reason why NXT Kids was scrapped was to do with the commentary. Because if Vince doesn't like it, then it doesn't get made. And he doesn't like the idea of not having control. Imagine the bad PR if it got out that Vince McMahon was yelling in the ear of the wee baby Tucker to tell him what he can and he can't say. Not to mention the logistics of hiring so many underage employees. And they'd be employees, not independent contractors. NXT Kids was a fun experiment, one that I hope they do try again down the road, but for now, we're just gonna have to be stuck here wondering what if. What if Billie Kay had just hugged Bayley? Guess we'll never know. Hell, of the 4 that wrestled, Bayley's the only one who still has a job. So I will be posting a link in the description to the full episode so that you can see it for yourself. And of course, all of this is just my opinion though, so what did you think of the fabled lost NXT Kids? Would you have watched it today? Would you have watched it when you were 8? And tell me what you thought were the good and the bad points of the show. Let me know what you think in the comments and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more because I want you to be a part of this conversation too. For now though, I better get my shoulders off the mat, so thank you for tuning in to Jobbed Out. I'll catch you next time.